Morning everybody, it's Monday morning and we're ready for another week. Hope you've had a fantastic weekend and it was great weather. Unfortunately we weren't allowed to, I'm just near the beach and weren't allowed to go on the beach, but it was fantastic to have such lovely weather. And I hope you thought about during your weekend a little bit about those resilient people. I talked to you about my dad, Harry. Unfortunately, he's now not very well. And he's got cancer, so he's having to battle that. It's not the virus or anything, so we're going to find out how he is today. So anyway, in terms of thinking about your resilient people, he's certainly mine. And what sort of characteristics, did you have a think about that over the weekend? What sort of characteristics make up your resilient person? Well, of course, they're usually really positive people, optimistic, they're full of confidence, self-belief, and they can also be adaptable and flexible, usually very adaptable to circumstances. Instead of being frightened of change, they adapt accordingly and don't see it as a negative, but as usually quite a positive. They're enthusiastic, yeah, rah, 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 enthusiastic, but they actually don't take things personally. Do you know how often when somebody criticises your comments or something like that, how easy it is to take things incredibly personally? So they usually are able to sort of step back and look at the situation, put things into perspective. A lot of people also who are resilient have their own goals. I mean, when you're at work, you often have your work goals, but what about your personal goals? We're going to talk a bit more about that in later blogs, but anyone think about what's going to happen in 10 years? What's your plan for 5 years' time? I know it's all a bit, strange at the moment, but it's still easy. Most of us are going to be able to still look ahead at that 5 years or 10-year plan. So thinking about that, and one of the things that not many people get when I do all my workshops is the asking for help bit, being supported. There's always this sort of sense of, oh, well, if I ask for help, maybe people will think I'm a bit weak. I should be able to do it myself. The strong, do you remember I talked to you about the strong person? But actually if you think about politicians, they've got a massive different support networks. And we're not talking about having your security or anything like that. We're talking about friends and family, and even being able to have support from a counsellor, which over the years during difficult times I've felt incredibly privileged to be able to see an amazing person who sadly has since passed away, but she was there for me 100%. So asking for support is a really crucial one. So just to summarise, being positive, optimistic, flexible, adaptable. If in failure, you turn it around and say, okay, this is an opportunity rather than taking it personally, having meaningful goals, and remember that asking for help. So that's really about resilient characteristics. And that, I believe, is in chapter 5, I think, after the one explaining all the various different, body sort of connections that we have. But it's not just about resilient personality, it's also about resilient lifestyles. So interestingly, there was a great study done about blue zone countries. That's countries across the world that are identified as having incredibly healthy people, but also people who generally live 10 years longer because of they didn't do it, it was by default in a way, but their lifestyle, the sort of Mediterranean diet, all of those sorts of things was such. And that was a place in Okinawa in Japan, Icaria in Greece, Sardinia in Italy, Costa Rica. And so those are the various ones. unfortunately, during this virus, it seems to be those that may well have been hit hardest, and it could well be because they are so elderly, because they are so connected and close. We'll maybe talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. So I want you to think about those countries and think about what is their lifestyle. What's their lifestyle that makes them be able to be so healthy, both in mind and in body, and what things enable them to maybe live 10 years longer. Well, certainly up until this virus anyway. So I want you to think about it. There's Okinawa in Japan, Icaria in Greece, Sardinia in Italy, and Costa Rica. So think about those particular places. That's just some examples. And think about what their lifestyle might be and what might contribute to their well-being. Okay then, have a lovely day. Thanks very much. Bye. Oh, and remember, if you like it, share it. And that's my website, which is www.co.uk. And that's www.crisisadvice.co.uk, and there's a free PDF of my book, Grit Not Shit, which covers all these various different chapters. So this is Pam saying goodbye from blog number 8 now, and happy week, happy Monday, bye.